Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the FAMvestor Podcast. I'm your host, Sunny Burns.
And I'm your co-host, Sunmarie Burns.
And I'm your co-host, Baylin Burns.
And who are you? And we have Alvin here on the show, too. Today's an episode dedicated to the family. You know, we focus on family mission, family vision, family values, and just, how to create strong families. And we talk with Dan Romer, who really shares our shared mission of, creating these strong families and the impact that has on not only your kids, but the world at large. So it's really a great podcast, really exciting. Our kids do butt in at the very end, but I think they add some value there. Might be a little noisy, but it's fun. Anyway, we had a great time talking with Dan. What was your insight, Sunmarie?
Yeah, I just love how driven he is to building the best family possible. You know, we talked to him about so many incredible ideas on how to prioritize your family and your life, regardless of, whatever else is going on in your life. How to make your kids the heroes of your life story, and just to build a life in which you and your whole family can feel value and a sense of adventure and fulfillment. So he really brings to the table so many important points to help you strengthen your family, strengthen your marriage, and lead the life that truly makes you feel fulfilled.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get to the show. Say bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
You're listening to the FAMvestor Podcast. If you're looking to raise your family with intention, gain financial independence, and live a life of true freedom, you're in the right place. Join us as we explore together how to create thriving families, because strong families are the cornerstone for a world at peace.
Hello, everyone, and welcome for joining us for another episode of the FAMvestor Podcast. Today, we're excited. We have an interview that we've been trying to get this to work for a couple of months now, so excited to finally be doing this. Today, we have Dan Romer on the show. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. It's so good to be here with you guys. Yeah, it's been a few months trying to put this together with so many good things going on, but I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you guys. What a joy to connect in and chat.
Yeah, awesome. So glad to have you. Dan's been married 20 years. He has 7 kids. He's a family strategist coach. He really believes family is our legacy, our life mission, and the building blocks of our world. So really, when I heard his story and heard his message, and I just thought it connected so well with what we try to do here in FAMvestor. And we really truly believe, too, that family is at the core of it all. It's at the core of our society. So if we can get our families right, we really believe that, the world would be at peace. Mm-hmm. And so glad to have Dan here. So glad to talk about, family strategy, life mission, and just, making our marriages great.
Love it. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, so Dan, as you know, we're all about anything family, finance, and freedom. I think we're going to be focusing mostly on the family spectrum here, but in terms of your own life and, maybe why you got into like family strategy or, 7 kids is a story in itself there. Can you give us a little background about yourself, maybe an origin story?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I grew up as an only child.
Wow.
So kind of crazy that I've got 7 kids now. But growing up as an only child, great mum and dad, but really it was just me, and just spent a lot of time in front of the TV. So I get to 18, I go away to do my business degree, and I just my heart and my mind was just so hungry to learn, like, what is life all about, and what do I really want to do? And you know what it's like when everyone's at university. So it's really such a discovery of your identity, and you're like kind of flicking through the channels of life. And so I meet my amazing wife while I'm away at university, and we get married. And you change as you grow old and as you get married. And that was a very important focal point in my life when we got married, and I felt so just hungry and kind of burdened in a like spiritual way, in a life vision way, to just capture a picture of what I wanted for life. Mm-hmm. And all in that was, how would we make money? Where would we travel? What adventures would we have? And I just didn't want to be conventional. Mm-hmm. And I just did. I was looking around, and so many friends had ambition in a certain career, and I'd ask them, like, what, why do you want to do that? Some of them had great answers, truly excellent, vision, but loads of them were just following the crowd, just following a system. And I just felt so suspicious. And I looked at so many of them. I thought, hang on, I'm asking you guys a lot of questions, and I don't know if I like the answers. Because I was hearing, well, it seems like that's what everyone's doing. I was like, that makes me nervous. Well, you've got to climb the rungs of the ladder. And I was like, whoa, just work in a corporate environment, for your life, and at 65, then have fun. I was like, whoa. And then others would say, you got to play the corporate game and kind of add value, which I understand. But that just sounded like building someone else's dreams and someone else's vision. Right. And I don't have anything against the 9-to-5. And, I get it. There are seasons of life where you got to do what you got to do while you're growing and invest. Anyway, so that was just such a formative time of my life. And so my wife and I put a big, giant piece of paper down on the table. I had one more year of study left. We were married. So this was our first year of married life together. And so we had some time to think. And we just wrote on this big piece of paper, big dreams, travel to great places. And we started to talk about kids. And we were thinking, maybe we'll have a child, maybe 2, maybe in 5 years. And we were thinking, why not have a bunch of kids? Yeah, let's write it down.
That's what all started.
It turns out that what you focus on, written down, and set your heart and your mind and your affection and your conversation, it turns out that your resources and your plans flood on in and follow what you focus on. And so that's where it all started 21 years ago. And it's been an amazing ride as a family since then.
I love that. You've told us so many interesting points here. And one thing that I get from that is that you wrote out these dreams and really built them together, both you and your wife. And I think that is so powerful and so beautiful. And I think it's something that a lot of couples don't necessarily take the time to do, to sit down together, to take the time to dream together. And as you said, it's been something similar in our experience as well. The things that we brainstorm on, we've written down, we've put our focus on, those are the things that have actually happened in our life. So how important it is as a couple to really hone in on what do you want your future together to look like. If you want a successful relationship, you've got to think it through like anything else in life. You don't just go by, what's happening today. You actually plan it out and really put time and attention to it. So I love that.
Right, and you talk about, creating and brainstorming these big dreams. And it's amazing. I feel like you're probably those big dreams that you had that piece of paper. I'm sure you have it still today. A lot of that has, was like, no way this will happen, but I want this. And I'm sure it's come to fruition over the years, right? And I'm sure that's it. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's it. Yeah, it's never a straight line. Never a straight line by any means. Life has its different turns, twists and turns, and ups and downs.
Right.
But yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I keep all of my written journals. I'm more digital now, but still like a little bit of pen and paper. I've kept all those journals over the years. I just love looking through them, and it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible how things have happened through direction and passion. And that has carried us so much. And then the rest, getting the smarts and the intelligence and the resources, it's like those things have been attracted like a magnet. Because we definitely did not have the smarts, and the intelligence, to do it all. But we had the excitement.
Yeah, Dan, how old were you when you were married?
I was 22. Trying to remember. Hang on. 20.
Nice.
21, so 1999, 20. I was 22.
22.
Yeah,
okay.
I was 22 when we met.
Yeah, and then
24
when I got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool
Oh,
when
that's
we
so
got
cool.
married,
Yeah. And then you had your first child when?
September, October, November. Yeah, so 14 months later, we
Okay.
had our first child, and we had only just arrived in the States 2 months prior. That was crazy, getting on a plane, 7 months pregnant,
Oh, wow.
moving over to the States, and yeah,
Wow, that is a big dream, to shift your country, move out of country, start your family in a whole new place. That was that on your paper?
It sure was. It sure was. We we wanted to head to the States. We've got family in the States, friends there. And we thought, okay, well, let's take a step. Let's continue my education. So I enrolled in some postgraduate study. And it was a little bit crazy because Susie was pregnant, heavily pregnant. But we were like, okay, 7 months, we're going to do this. If we're going to have an adventure, we're going to take our kids on this adventure. And so we moved, and while we were preparing for that year, we put an American flag on the wall, and we asked our friends, hey, we want you to pin like notes, pin prayers to this. We want you to support us in this. And they got so excited. They loved it. And so every one of those stars and stripes on there, we pinned notes on there, and gave stuff away, sold our house, and rolled out. It was exciting.
Wow.
So
Fantastic.
cool.
You're very much an all-in kind of family. I'm getting that sense, and I really love that. And I also, something you just said that caught me was, whatever dream you're going on, you want to bring your kids along for the ride. And I really think that is so important, that whatever you do as a couple or as a person, that it's something that is whole purpose that can be enjoyed by your entire family. I feel like so often parents hold back on dreaming, because they're like, oh, well, we have kids, so now's not the time to travel, or now's not the time to branch out and build this dream. And I feel like it kind of leaves a void of maybe emptiness or potential resentment that could build. I feel like time and time again, I talk to couples, and I feel like where there's an unhappiness, they're putting barriers on their own visions because they're making excuses. And perhaps it's like, oh, because I have small children, I can't do this. I can't travel to another country. I can't explore this new part of my life. And I think that that's something we've always felt, no matter what we do, we're doing it together as a family. If we have a toddler, if we have a 5-year-old, we're gonna find a way to make it work together. And I think that that's so profound.
Yeah, it sure is. I love what you said there. There's a lot in what you just said. If for your listeners listening to this, if you pause on what you just said and give attention to that, it will change everything. I agree with what you said. I've seen so many couples make the mistake when kids come along of trying to separate their life in too many compartments. And you've got life that happens here with the kids and life that happens here without the kids. And I get it. You might not be able to take your kids to work. I get that. But with too much separation in life, you can't be spread so thin and try and get everything done. It leads to so much frustration. But a common vision for the family that doesn't detract from the unique personalities of the member, but a common vision and a direction for the whole family, with adventure, with sacrifice, with risk, is extremely life-giving in a household. And some of our closest friends have taken their kids on tour, and people have criticized at times, that they're musicians. They've criticized, well, it must be so hard, living in a tour bus. Well, life can be hard. Right. Anyway, when you face other challenges, like, health challenges or face other disappointments. So never mind with the tour bus. Like, if you're going to do life on a tour bus, do it well. Have time, have family time, eat well, eat your supplements, exercise, and then go on tour and change the world with your kids. Don't rob them of that adventure.
Right.
So there's this other phrase that came to mind. I remember so many people, talking about work-life balance. It's as though work is something I have to do in this miserable, life-zapping part, and here's life. So there's work-life balance. Well, how about we live our life?
Right.
And how about we don't dedicate ourselves to things that just drain us and just destroy the passion in us? And I get it. There's responsibilities. And I get it. You might have to do a 9-to-5 job, but choose to do that 9-to-5 that maybe pays the bills for a season, so that you're responsible to build your vision in life. And therefore you no longer despise that. It's just a vehicle. It's a tool to get there. So I'm not proclaiming this just instant wealth and success on anybody that just suddenly wakes up in the morning and clicks their fingers, but just live your life, enjoy your life. And the way it's turned out with our family is with all of the challenges of, raising teenagers and all the challenges of life and mistakes of life, financial mistakes, all the stuff everyone has. But along the way, I've got, my 15-year-old's here in the room, and he runs all of our graphic designs, all of our web designs for our clients. And he's managing all of the graphic designs for our largest client in North America. And he's rocking it. And that didn't happen overnight. But it's a skill he's learned on the job. And so my oldest daughter does video for our clients as well. And so she's in her apartment just down the road, and she's there. And again, not without its challenges. I don't want to make it too glossy, but she's got her own space, her own rig, and she's doing the work. My oldest son, Harry, he was on The Voice Kids. Again, not without its challenges, not without its ups and downs, not without its difficulties, but that life direction enabled us to be available for him to be a finalist on The Voice Kids and just exercise. Yeah. So it's not glossy. It's not glossy, and it's hard, but there's no way I'd be able to do that if I didn't map out that vision with my wife,
right,
and commit to a direction. I would have just been pulled along by my peers and the general crowd, and I would not be making a difference, and I would not be satisfied.
Yeah. Dan, I'm curious to dig into this vision more. I don't mind. I wonder if you're okay sharing your family's vision, and I wonder how that transforms. Once you're a couple, you're making this vision, but then once you start introducing children, do they have buy-in to this vision, or is it really the parents leading it? And I'm curious also. You're leading a lot of families. Do you say like, hey, grab a big piece of paper and start mapping out your vision, or do you have a new process now that you've done this over 20 years?
For sure, yeah. We actually created the Rebel Family Vision Rescue Kit, and so we just created this short course, and I'll give it to all of your listeners for free, no charge. I'm just so excited. Yep, I'm just so excited, passionate about families getting a hold of this. So more than happy to deliver that value. There's two. I'll put our season of life, because there are many seasons, and you've got to know the season you're in.
Right.
But I'll just put ours in two broad categories: the younger years and the older years.
Okay.
And just on that point, knowing the season of life you're in, you don't get to cut corners when you're building something incredible. And building anything good takes time and sacrifice and energy. And I love this passage. Actually, it's actually in the Bible, that describes this man who built his house on the rock. And there's this comparison. And the guy that built his house on the rock, there's this passage in the Bible that says he dug down deep. And he looks stupid because he's digging a great big hole. And he's the kind of guy who's got dirt under his fingernails, whereas the guy next door, who he didn't care about building on the rock, he's just building on mud. He's got straw and hay, and he's just throwing anything he wants on it. He looks amazing because he's got this big construction up, but it's going to take the first storm for that thing to come, and then he's going to look stupid. Right now he looks great, but the guy that dug down deep, he's looking for this solid rock. And in ancient times, a lot like now building, but in ancient times that was so expensive,
right,
to dig. And it was just as expensive to find this bedrock stone as it was to build the whole rest of the house. It takes time. And if you don't know the season you're in, you might race ahead looking through your Instagram feed to try and be the entrepreneurial real estate mogul guru. That just doesn't happen when you're 19. it happens later on, but things have to happen first. So when you're it's like going to the gym. You know, if you haven't been for years, the stage you're in is just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up.
Right.
And then don't leave the gym for at least 45 minutes and do. So I'll just put it in 2 seasons. Early on, it was, you know, mom and dad. It's me and my wife, and it's the vision. And when the kids are 3, you know, we wanted training. There's an element of discipline in the family, and you got to put some good stuff in. But then in a later stage, as they're going through their teenage years, here's what we did. And this is hopefully what I can give your listeners. We did some personality profiling. We really dug into what's their unique inbuilt wiring. And there's there's loads around there. And a couple of my favorites is, I mean, you know, like this, and they're used in the workplace, like Clifton Strengths Finder and DISC Profile, and you know, there's loads of those. But a couple of my favorites was actually one called the Enneagram. I think it's ENNEAGRAM, and there's a bunch of them free online. And another one is our good friends are coaches in this organization, is called Life Languages, not to be confused with Love Languages. Love Languages is cool too for another thing. Life Languages, and that helps. Life Languages helps the way you communicate together as a family. So what does this mean in terms of vision? It means that we as a family, or as a husband and wife, mom and dad, are not dictating the vision to our kids. Like, hey, we're going to all become, you know, like watercolor painters. And the kids are like, what? It's not like that. But we're actually looking at their unique design and inner wiring, the way they're created, what they love. And what happened was when Harry was like 12, my wife was organizing this musical event, and he comes along, and we were just talking about singing and, you know, and music. He comes along and it's like, hey, I want to do that. And we're like, what do you want to do? I want to sing in the event, you know, and we keep talking about musical things. So we just thought we'll give him a quick go before the main event. And then our little boy can step off to the side. And he came in, and his voice just busted out these beautiful tone. Whoa, this is amazing. And then with one of my daughters, she's not technical, she's also creative. We put a camera in her hands. With my other son, he's very like technical. He likes to know what we're eating, where we're going, what's happening. He's like got it all lined out, engineer mind, techie mind. So we put computers in his hands. We safeguarded those. And he's, you know, just going, he can code, he can web design, he does graphics. So we developed their skills and their giftings and made sure that each member of our family can see that they're the hero in the journey. And that arc, the hero's journey, is what will help guide your family in the decisions you make and the places you travel, because every decent book written and every movie ever made on the planet has that hero's journey, where the hero is becoming somebody. They're faced with huge obstacles and difficulties, and they feel honestly crushed. And that's the frailty of the human condition in many ways. Like we're full of kind of blind spots, uncertainties. It's just not, and the hero like falls to their face. Sometimes it's like a literal death, you know, in movies. But there's like a rebirth as they discover their identity. They lift their chin, they square their shoulders, and they realize, you know what? I've got a life to live, and no one else can fill these shoes. And it takes mentors, it takes community. There's a lot in that. And even their original vision may be something that actually changes along the way. They may not even actually completely achieve the original kind of like treasure at the end of the rainbow type thing, but they become the hero, and that's the journey. So I know that's a lot and very philosophical, but if you have a story formed life, and for us it was a lot of church life and starting churches and missional impact from the standpoint of our Christian faith, and that guided a lot. But also discover your kids' abilities and their giftings, what they're good at. Is your kid a chess player? Are your children a gymnast? Are your family creatives? Are you people that travel and just marvel at mountains and take photographs? Are you guys, do you love just to do good for other people on your street and like sweep the street, paint someone's front door, and just cook them a meal Like, who does that for people these days? Change lives. It doesn't. You don't have to be on the stage as a world famous musician or anything. But the story is huge.
Yeah.
So much there. I found what was really profound there is to acknowledge and tap into the innate gifts that that are God-given, that we're all born with. You know, we have a set of talents or propensities that are unique to us. And I feel like often in families when there is strife, it comes from a sense of not being accepted for who you are, right? And I think less than being accepted is just for families not having even an understanding of who they are and each of their members' unique potentials. You know, I think to take that time could be so life-changing for a family, to take that time to really find out who your children are and what their gifts are, and then mold your life to fit that into, you know, your plans for the future, so that every member of the family feels valued, acknowledged, and a part of this beautiful life that you're building together. I feel like that would strengthen your family and draw you closer together as a family, versus drifting apart as, you know, your children grow and have different dreams, and now they go off to do their dream and you let them just go because you haven't found a way to incorporate it into your overall family vision.
Perfect.
Dan, I'm curious to know, you know, you have 7 kids, you have a wife to take care of too, and you know, you want to dig into your children and really invest in them. But what strategies do you use to, you know, make time to make sure you're connecting with your children and really dig into what they're into at this current stage in their life?
Yeah, we've adjusted and changed that year by year by year, you know, and learned every day along the way. Typically, there's some big things that really help us. We, first off, as a family, we want to be really, really clear with what our values are. It's a lot of what we've been talking about, but it takes writing these down. If you don't write down and articulate what you value, like what you just described, Sonny, like time, you know, husband and wife time, for example, or one-on-one time with the kid. If you don't write that down and articulate that and define that, it's not important. If you can't define it, if you don't write it down, you never talked about it. So talk about it, define it, and write it down. What is important for Susie and I? It's really important that we at least have a date night once a week. Often it's a date breakfast, but also once a week, we need to have at least 2 or 3 business meetings. And this is not where we just pick a really nice restaurant and kind of dress up and go. This is where we come with a list, with an agenda, with stuff to knock out, plan, get done, delegate, and make sure it gets handled. So, but if you write down your values, you can return to that exercise every quarter. Is it a value to have strategic relationships that inspire you, pull you up, mentoring relationships, being a community? If that's a value, and it should be, it needs to be written down, and it's got to happen. Because if I'm, as a husband, as a dad, if I'm not around other men and women, but particularly from a context of a dad and husband, other men, other males, that are intensely passionate about their family, unreasonably dedicated and committed to faithfulness in their marriage relationship and in their children's relationship, then I'll just become average. I'll just become like, I need to be have an unreasonable dedication to my wife and children, and therefore I need to be around those kind of people. So it goes in my calendar, it goes in my schedule. So write out your values, one-on-one time with the kids and their time to exercise their hobbies and their skills, their fun. So we're going to go to the BMX track, that's a British term, isn't it? BMX. We're going to go to the cycle track. It's an outdoor track with all these jumps for bikes and stuff. Cool. with the younger 2 boys.
Oh, nice.
Later on, we're going to go to the movies, see Tenet, that new movie out tomorrow, and we're also Susie and I are going to spend the rest of the day together as part of our actually wedding anniversary this weekend.
Oh wow!
Happy anniversary!
Yeah, thank you. Last year was our 20th. Actually, we went to the Maldives. It was like the most fantastic.
Oh, wow.
We had planned that for a while, and then this year with lockdown and the whole COVID-19, everything changed. So it's shopping and a few restaurants. But those values will steer everything. Do you value the care of your body? Don't say that you do if it is not written down and scheduled and budgeted. If it isn't budgeted, you don't care, because if you don't measure something, it's not important to you. And a husband and wife will remember. I will remember. I don't not bringing up necessarily the differences between men and women. That it happens in different ways. But men will remember if their wife is not affectionate, respectful, and honoring to a husband, and a wife will remember if a husband is not sacrificial and doesn't think about her, plan for her, and spend time with her. We remember these things. So they need writing down. So yeah, in terms of the kids, their skills developed, their home education curriculum is planned out. Susie is a ninja at doing that. One-on-one time. We have family night on Sunday nights, all together, all 9 of us. And so we hang out, we laugh. It usually starts around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And so it's like a really nice extended time of hanging out together.
What is hanging out? Are you playing board games, playing sports all together? I mean, 7 kids, you have a basketball, right? 9, 4 versus 5?
That's it, yeah. These days in lockdown, we're hanging out either here at the house or at our daughter's apartment. And board games. We just got a new board game, Think Fast. And it's hysterical. So yeah, love doing that. We all love wheels. So sometimes we'll take the bikes and the skateboards out on the nice weather. But that's really huge. And then Monday nights typically is we have a little bit of family time, but then it's leadership development. So we have Zoom calls typically that Susie and I are both on, and that's with some of the mentors that we connect in with. Both here and in North America as well. It works out well with the time frame. Tuesday nights is for our church night, and so that's in every single week, so that's really important, and our kids are involved in those small groups, so that's for our spiritual growth. Then on Thursdays, we're with the local community here. Something that was happening is everyone here in the country was applauding our healthcare system on Thursday nights. It was kind of led by the government to just appreciate their hard work. Well, that season ended, and we decided to say to our neighbors, hey, let's keep hanging out on the doorstep, just out the back of the house, and let's have a drink together and hang out. So we do that. And it's just a beautiful way of connecting in with the neighborhood, and the kids love that and are involved in that. So, and then, a few weeks go by and we adjust as necessary, depending on travel. I work out in the gym every morning at 7. Susie goes to the gym middle of the day with her friend. That works best for her. So yeah, it just the important stuff goes in. And I'll just pause after saying this statement. If this translates well for the whole family as well as it does for the individual. If I'm not rested and spirit, soul, and body growing, maturing, healthy, with even my physical body, with exercise, eating right, there is no wealth creation. There is no serving any clients. There is no taking care of my marriage or my kids if this is not happening. So these things have to be the things we value. These have to be convictions, non-negotiables. And then client work, marketing work, career work has to fit within that. I know I have to be flexible. It may require a trip away from my wife and kids, but the first things are the first things. And if it's the other way around, there will be no marriage, and it falls apart. No marriage survives, like constant negative pressure. No child-parent relationship survives constant absence and neglect. And the absence of a deeply meaningful, authentic, engaging relationship. So those things. So I will determine where I live in the world and what house I live in first, the way it's serving my family, and then I can serve the world effectively afterwards.
Yeah, wow. I love that. And I love what you were saying about, just really committing to your values and making those non-negotiables. I think that's so awesome. And for you highlighting health there, and then you showing yourself true to that by doing your 7 a.m. workouts. That's so cool. And then also having your wife also buying into that mission and then doing her own workouts.
I love how you broke down not only that you have these visions, but a very practical application of it day by day, which areas you're focusing on. Because I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is they'll perhaps make a dream, build a vision, but then not know how to organize it in a systematic way to actually make it something that they work on weekly, as you just demonstrated you do with your family. And I think that that's where success comes in, is where you are able to create a schedule that works for you, where you're hitting all the areas that are most important to you. And I think that that's really important, to find a way to organize your time and your thoughts to allow you to grow in all the areas you want to grow in.
Yeah, and when you are coaching some of your clients, and they build this vision, this value-based vision, what's the next step? Like, how do you hold them accountable, or how do you help guide them that way in achieving these lofty, big dreams?
Yeah, for sure. It depends what area. A couple worth noting, I suppose, is both the business world, because it actually translates into the organization of family. And also what we're doing with Rebel Family. So just starting with Rebel Family as a community, we help families achieve their family goals based on 4 core areas. And so we work with them on marriage communication, because if there's no communication, we're not starting anything. Nothing's getting done if we don't work on this precious society called marriage, and the values, the convictions. It is a society, and if you don't get that as your priority, don't get it right, then parenting, business, it cannot be done. That marriage should be a society that gives immense leverage to business. Think about it. You got the smarts and the life experience and the gifting of 2 people. That's compounded. That's like putting 5 or 10 people in the room. 1 plus 1 is not 2. Putting husband and wife together is just spur one another on. That's huge. So we really work on marriage communication. Second one is we work on vision and strategy. We do Zoom calls on this, and hence the Rebel Family Family Vision Rescue Kit. So we work on a whole program there, and there's a Family Vision primer that just gets them started, and then there's a course that takes them through, and they fill out a 32-page document as well, and it's a living document. So you end up with the vision, mission, values for your family. The third core area is in parenting. So for those families, you're a family unit without kids, mom, dad in a marriage, you're a family. But when kids come along, then you need a plan. And so we have a rite of passage. It's huge. It's massive. You don't bring your kids through into adulthood, which is the goal. It's not raising kids. The goal is raising adults, right? So if you don't bring them through, they will forever be trying to initiate themselves into adulthood, which is why you get boys getting angry, making a lot of mistakes. The old proverb is true. If the young man does not feel the warmth of the village, he will burn it down. Like he's got energy, passion, like you've got to raise him. A lot of girls, sadly, there's cutting, anorexia, pregnancy out of wedlock, and just, the rite of passage is huge. They must become a hero. They must become someone full of confidence, courage, a skill. So we go through that, and then the fourth one is we help them identify their unique mission in life. Now, on that fourth one, I've seen so many families that they're just reaching for great financial goals and achieving them, and miserable. And they're going on the greatest vacations, with the best photography, and outside of the photo shoot, they're miserable. And their kids are in like the finest academic institutions the world could, and they are miserable. And what is going on? They never really articulated how they are here to bring value and give to the world, to change the world, which takes sacrifice, and it takes risk, good risk, calculated risk. There's this young daughter, and she was just getting involved with boyfriends and that were just not doing her any good at all. And this dad was telling me, he's wondering, what am I doing wrong? I love my wife, I love my teenage daughter, and I said, well, what's the how are you going to impact the world for good? What's your mission? And he said, we don't have a mission. And I said, well, let's change that. What do you think you should do? And within a few weeks, there's one of your little guys there.
One of them.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, there he goes. Oh, I love it that your family's there hanging out. Mine are walking around here too. Oh, there's another guy.
I might need to take a short pause here, but yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, you pause whenever you need to. I'm loving the family vibe. So, yeah, but just on that one, I guess the conclusion was he came home and said, I want to help build these orphanages overseas.
Wow.
And within days, his teenage daughter had dumped the druggy boyfriend. She runs into their bedroom, leaps on their bed, and she's like, hey, I could start blogging and helping us raise money.
Wow.
The wife, later that day, like he thinks he's in big trouble because he's like got some crazy vision. He's taken out a second mortgage to do this thing and not making great decisions. But he had this mission, and his wife gives him the most passionate kiss in the kitchen that she's ever given him. And that they're excited because their money's going towards world impact. So those are the four big areas that we go through. Hopefully those four are four great takeaways as well.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
That was fantastic. I think that you hit a lot of points about what truly brings a person value in life. And I think it's so important to visit that and to really ponder on that and make it happen and to build your life around those things rather than build it around modern day society's often pushed priority, which is your career. It always seems that seems to be the launching point from which you're supposed to fit everything else in around that, and yet it's the part of your life that I think brings, not always, but it brings perhaps the least value to you because it's just your basic survival tool. Like, well, how will I get by day to day to buy my food and my groceries and whatever? It's a tool, but it shouldn't dominate your life purpose, right?
Right. Well said. That's so good.
Dan, I'm curious, you've homeschooled, I believe you homeschooled all 7 of your kids, and now I feel like they're very, like you mentioned earlier, they're not really building someone else's dream, working a 9 to 5. They know their purpose, they know what they want, they're building their own dreams, they're entrepreneurial. How do you think that happened? I mean, I'm sure the way you're speaking, you're a prime example, and I'm sure they're following you, but what do you see?
It must have taken quite a bit of guidance.
Yeah.
For sure. It comes down to this one principle that I believe with all of my heart. This one principle is that the student will become like the teacher. The learner will become like the master. And so every parent has decisions to make in raising their kids. And so arguably, if you send your kids into a system of education, which could be great, it could be college, it could be a home tutor, it could be, whatever. You're making all of those decisions. It could be a university. Where you send them, they will be in an ecosystem, and they will take in the nutrients or the lack thereof, the dignity and the honor, the authenticity and the honesty, or the complete lack thereof, or they will take in the corruption and the degradation and the destruction and the dishonor and the dislike of family unit and marriage and kids. They will take it all in. They will take it all in, and they will become like their mentors. They will become what they focus upon. They will take into themselves what goes in the eye gates and the ear gates, which makes me somebody that I do not in any way tell people they should not put their kids in the school system. I just want to tell parents, everybody is home educating, because when they come home, you better be from school, you better be ready to debrief. And if your kids are adopting, attitudes of married life, gender, money, things that you totally disagree with, you better be ready to give them a better vision, because they are flicking through the channels of life. They're wired for great things, adventure. And if they find one of the channels in life that is more exciting, more adventurous than what you have as parents, then do not be disillusioned. Don't make the mistake. Don't be surprised when they pick a completely different path that you think is horrible, terrible, if you have not taken the direction. So arguably every parent is home educating, at least at some point during the day.
Yeah.
So what tutors and mentors are you going to pick?
Right.
And so, some parents send their kids into, state education and they do great. But I mean, so many have experienced horrible things and the absolute destruction of the individual and their mental, physical, spiritual well-being, and the destruction of the family. So it is not a small decision. Do not go with the flow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Don't go with the easier thing. Go with what is truly handcrafted for your family, whatever that might look like. And you bring up the point. It doesn't mean you have to homeschool. Homeschooling can be a wonderful way of accomplishing that. But even if your children are enrolled in school, you have a duty and a responsibility in the home to make sure that you are actively providing your children with the education and knowledge in the things that are most important to you as a family in your family unit. I think too often parents put that responsibility on other people, right? It just kind of becomes, the school should be giving them all that information, all the tools they need for life. And you take a back seat and kind of get a little bit lazy there, thinking, I just have to focus on what I'm doing and let the teachers worry about what my kids are doing. And no, it's not that at all. Parents are their kids' first and foremost teachers, right?
Right. That's good. Yeah. I always tell people it comes down to these two things. If you teach your kids how to bring value to the marketplace, they might be academic geniuses, or they may never even do the basic academics. But if they can bring value to the marketplace, they might make shoes, they might make music, they might serve people. But if they bring value to the marketplace, then the market will reward them. And secondly, if they're amazing with people, they respect people, love people, really develop those social skills. That's your EQ that you don't get, in a state education. Develop those skills. You can lead people. You can work through relationships. You can communicate. Those two things are a massive part of your education. And sadly, you typically don't get a lot of that in school. They're not going to tell you how to do that.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I think we're getting close to the end here, and I'm curious if you want to share a little bit more about the Rebel Family podcast that you recently started. I feel like you're like you said in the beginning of the show, you really didn't want to just go with the flow, do what everyone else is doing because that's what everyone else was doing. And I feel like that's kind of the mission of the Rebel Family. Do you want to just share a little bit more about some of the resources you offer for families who are looking to be a lot more intentional with their lives, and maybe the best way to contact you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for me to share that. I appreciate it as well. Yeah, the Rebel Family, we called it that because we want to, frankly, rebel against the low expectations for marriage and family life. We want to be unreasonable in our expectations and our achievements, and absolutely crush family goals. Through those 4 core areas I shared earlier is a pathway to living a life on purpose and on mission. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're called Rebel Family. We've got a free Facebook group. Would love you guys to jump in anytime. Enjoy the community, lean in, share questions, challenges, post your photographs there of family adventure, hiking up some mountain or buying a new condo, whatever you're doing, and inspire us all with your story. So that's a free Facebook group. You can jump in there. And then a bunch of the resources, we have some live Zoom coaching calls with 4 of our coaching experts. They're all my good friends who I've known for years and years. Chris, he's amazing at health and diet, and he really speaks to the wellness of the whole person and the heart as well. He's massive at coaching on hopes and expectations. and how that impacts your physical exercise and diet. He's awesome. And then, James and Janine are coaches in marriage communication, and they use a phenomenal system called Life Languages. It helps amazingly. We've taken all of our kids through it, and they get tremendous results. They're absolutely awesome. My wife is also on there, and she is just an incredible parenting, entrepreneurial mama with just such love and the biggest heart of any human being I've ever known on the planet. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. And then I do Zoom calls on there as well, and a live Q&A hot seat where we just work through your vision and mission and strategy documents, and do some accountability huddles as well for helping with goals. So yeah, I'd be thrilled to connect in and have you guys on the Rebel Family show as well sometime. And you can connect in at rebel-family.com. You can email me at hello@rebel-family.com as well. Connect with me on Facebook. I'm there in the DMs as well at Dan Romer, Romer. So this has been such a treat, and I love your little boys' faces here. And I love that you guys are hanging out with me on this podcast with your kids too. That's awesome.
Well, Dan, thank you so much. It's definitely been a real treat for us too. It's awesome hearing the vision and how to set our own visions for our own families. And I think a lot of people will take a lot from this podcast. So I just want to thank you so much for joining the show. Guys. And have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, talk again soon. Bye, boys.
Say bye. Say bye, Alvin.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you.